reading from the book of Exodus. Thus says the Lord, "You shall not molest or oppress an alien, for you were once aliens yourselves in the land of Egypt. You shall not wrong any widow or orphan. If ever you wrong them and they cry out to me, I will surely hear their cry. My wrath will flare up, and I will kill you with a sword. Then your own wives will be widows, and your children orphans. If you lend money to one of your poor neighbors among my people, you shall not act like an extortioner toward him by demanding interest from him. If you take your neighbor's cloak as a pledge, you shall return it to him before sunset, for this cloak of his is the only covering he has for his body. What else has he to sleep in? If he cries out to me, I will hear him, for I am compassionate." The word of the Lord.
Our first reading for this Sunday comes from the great book of Exodus, a book that recounts to us the covenant between God and His people and the concomitant commandments of God, so that this people, Israel, would be recognized by everyone as really a covenanted people. And here we find a portion of the many, many commandments given by God through Moses, the commandments of love. And this portion of the book of Exodus is quite specific in commanding the people Israel how to observe love of neighbor. The first specific commandment is not to disturb, not to molest, not to oppress the alien. The alien people, the foreigners mingling with the Israelites, they should be left at peace. They should not be disturbed. They should not be oppressed even by the members of the chosen people. And God reminds Israel, you were once alien. You were once a foreign people in Egypt. Remember that. Remember your hardships. And remembering your hardships, you will not inflict that same hardship on the foreigners in your land. The next specific commandment is that of not doing wrong to widows and orphans. And God says, if you hurt the widows and the orphans, I will hear their cry, and I will kill you, so that your wives will be widows, so that your children will be orphans. The harm that you inflicted on the widows and orphans will be the same harm that your own wives and your children will experience. And then the Lord adds this commandment: do not extort from the poor. When the poor come to you begging for a loan, give it if you have something to give, but do not impose an interest, knowing that they are already poor. And if the pledge of a poor person is a cloak, make sure by sundown you return the cloak, because this poor person will sleep without any cover. And I will hear this poor person's cry, and I will heed the cry of the poor. These are consoling words from God. These are commandments that the people Israel should observe if they truly love their neighbor. They should not molest and oppress the alien. They should not do anything wrong to widows and orphans, and they should not take advantage of the poor. These are the helpless people: alien, widows, orphans, the poor. They are already helpless. They should not be made more helpless by the insensitivity of peoples. But we notice in these commandments of love that they are framed in the negative. Do not do this. Do not oppress. Do not threaten. Do not extort. This is one aspect of the commandment of love. If I love someone, there are actions that I should avoid. Actions that will harm other people or will harm them further. They are already in a condition of neediness, and if I do some actions, I will be pushing them deeper into their helplessness. So there are things that I should avoid. But what should I do positively? In the first reading, we are given the negative things, what we should avoid. And that is part of love. If I love someone, I should avoid some actions so that my respect for them, my regard for them, my compassion towards them will be promoted. But this is just one aspect of love. Avoiding what is harmful. Later on, the readings for today will complete this love of neighbor. But remember, in the first reading, love of neighbor comes from God. Love of neighbor is not a product of social convention or of human invention. No, it is part of the covenant love between God and His people.